Norman here, and are you still not subscribed to Matt's channel? Well, if you're not, hit the subscribe button because he's giving out free picks each and every week. Hope you have a good rest of your day.
UFC Austin Dariush versus Tsuruki in a deep fight night card, even though, we did lose Hooker versus Green. Nice replacement with the Tarantula. Jalen Turner saves the day for that co-main event against Bobby Green. I'll look at the main card like usual, provide breakdowns for each fight, talk prices, lines, free picks, leans, and also maybe what to avoid. Week off last week, however, profitable card the week before, and a perfect free card for you listeners. All over Allen in that fight. Allen by finish. On Morales as well in the co-main. So things went right there. Systemsportscapping.com or link.me/systemcapping for client opportunities. Client comments over there, records, and all sports, short and long term, resume, and more. Beat the Books available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Choose your platform. If you're listening, if you're watching, much appreciated. I do enjoy the support. To support, like the video, guys. Like the video. It helps me out a ton. On Apple Podcasts or Spotify, you can always rate it. I don't think they have like option, but you can rate it, review it. That'll be much appreciated, like mentioned. Client card will be available after weigh-ins. Weigh-ins are going to be key on this card. I'll talk that here shortly. We'll go over the main card. UFC update here, record update, which we always do, always transparent, and highlighted by two fight parlays this year, 69% two fight parlays, mostly around even money or plus money, 69% on the year, that's the highlight. And what I'm very happy about is the 66-39 all bets, average line plus money, guys. No big favorites here, outcomes, two fight parlays, underdogs, average line plus money. Over 68 units long term in the market and 7 straight profitable years. Let's hear from my friend Kristen before we get into this card.
For you sports bettors out there, let's be honest, you probably need a little bit of help beating those books. System Capping is a proven long-term winner against the sports betting market in multiple sports. He's built a worldwide clientele due to his high winning percentage over the years. Be sure to click the link on the bio down here to check out his profile, and you can also find out his resume, client comments, podcasts, and subscription opportunities. I'm going to be following him along too, so let's win some money together this season.
Shop around. Shop around, shop around, and shop around, guys. Very important, especially in the UFC. I'm looking at 4 or 5 different books right now. Pretty much all of them are different pricing, right? Different props out there. Always have multiple books. It's very important, again, especially in the UFC. So if you can, put funds in multiple books so you get the best price out there. Let's get right into it. A fun main event. Dariush plus 225 versus Tsuruki minus 275. When I make these lines, of course I make my own lines before looking at these lines. I had Dariush as the underdog, but not this big, not plus 225. I had it closer to, plus 180, plus 160 even. So I do have value here if we're talking just lines. Value here on Dariush at plus 225. Arman, highly praised guy, right? Possible champion at some point. A lot of talk of, this guy being a champion in this division. He continues to get better. Continues to get better at fight after fight. He does have some slip-ups though along the way, right? But his slip-ups are against top guys. Islam Makhachev, years and years ago, of course. I think everyone remembers that fight. And then the loss to, of course, Gamrot. Very close fight, but he gassed out later in that fight. Gamrot was able to win that one, which was a main event. So yes, Tsuruki does have the main event experience now. He has gained that. He's only 27, 28. He's getting that experience now. He's continuing to improve. Very well-rounded. That's what I love about him. But it seems like when he's fighting the top-level guys, the best of the best, he's slipping up. He does slip up when he fights the top of the guys. Look, some of his wins, right? After that Islam fight, he went on a 5-fight win streak. Win over Favola. Mercier. Mercier just won the PFL title, so shout out to him, Canadian guy there. Alvarez. And then had that step back versus Gamrot, right? He was in that big spot against Gamrot. Close fight, like I mentioned, but he did lose that fight. Next fight after that was Ismagulov. Very tough guy to fight. And he was able to use his wrestling to win that fight. Again, fairly close fight, but he did win that fight fairly clearly. Unanimous decision. And then he got the finish over Silva, who took that on short notice. It was a third-round finish due to a TKO stoppage. If I recall, Silva did take that on short notice. So if we look at that, the names he beat, guys, not world beaters, not top 10 guys, right? He hasn't beaten that guy that I was like, wow, huge win for Tsarukyan, right? I don't see that name yet. It could be here, and it could be here, and I do think it will be here. Like I mentioned, not the greatest matchup for Dariush, right? Dariush likes to use his wrestling, grappling, overall MMA skill set. I don't think he'll be able to use his wrestling in this fight against Arman, right? Arman's wrestling is very high level. He likes to be on top. And I do think he can get Dariush down on the ground. How will Dariush act when he's on top, when he's on the bottom, right? You don't see him on the bottom, all right? His takedown defense is very high at 80%. It's very high at 80%. But on the feet, this is where we see Dariush struggle at times. Even though I do think on the feet it's fairly even, but Arman will have the power advantage in my eyes and also the speed. That's what I think the difference will be on the feet. Arman will be quicker on the feet. And I think if Arman wants to get this fight down to the ground, he could bring down Dariush. Playing with a little fire, because Dariush's grappling is very high level black belt. I do get that. But I think Arman's control on top is very good. So I do think if he gets down there, he can get some control and get some, top control in that spot. Don't think he's going to submit Dariush. That won't happen. But I think his wrestling is superior to Dariush. And I think he can use that to an advantage. And on the feet, I do think his mixing overall game with his kicks. He likes to use his kicks. I like his kicks. And I do think he is very quick on the feet. Very good striker. I just don't think he has a clear advantage over Beneil Dariush. Dariush just has some hands. He likes to throw as well. Has some power. Sneaky power is what I like to say with Dariush. But that speed, I think, will be the difference on the feet here. And like I said, Arman can mix in the wrestling. Right? Dariush is live at this price. Right? The price at plus 200, like I mentioned at the top, there's value at this price. Right? Again, Arman has not beat a guy at this level yet. Right? Dariush just beat Gamrot, guys. Gamrot beat Arman. Keep that in mind. Maybe Arman is not as good as everyone thinks he is. He looks it on paper, and when you see him, he has all the skill sets to be very good. But when he's stepped up to the highest competition so far, he's lost those fights, guys. Keep that in mind. And this is in that category. Dariush is a high-level top 5 guy in this division. And Arman has not panned well in those fights. I'm just being honest, guys. Love the guy. I think he somehow gets it done here. This will not get my money, though. I'm not going to bet Arman Tsarukyan minus 275 versus Beneil Dariush. And like I mentioned, Dariush value at plus 225. I don't think he has enough to get it done. I do have some concerns as well after that Charles finish. He's a little bit chinny. He can be a little bit chinny, Dariush. We have seen it even before the Charles fight. Not just this fight. We've seen it before in the past as well. And, that could be concerning. A little older now. I'm not saying 35 is old. But it's a little older now. Obviously, he's sat out a little bit as well. And how does he bounce back after a tough loss? You got to keep in mind, a lot of times when, high-level guys get hurt or get finished in a fight, sometimes they struggle to bounce back. Mental game. right? So you're going to have to see how Dariush bounces back after that tough loss. This will not get my clients money. It's going to be a fight that I'm very intrigued in. For video purposes, I'm going to lean Arman Tsarukyan. Hate the price, but I'm going to lean him just because I think he is a well-rounded package. I just haven't seen him beat the top-level guys yet. So show me it. And this is a good spot to show me it against Beneil Dariush, who's a very, very well-rounded guy as well. So video purposes, Arman not getting my client money this weekend. I'm excited just to watch this fight and not have to sweat it. It could be a close fight, guys. It could be a close fight. And we've seen Arman fade in that Gamrot fight later in the fight. Keep that in mind. So if Beneil's able to get this fight deep, we could see that again in Arman. So because of that, I cannot bet Arman at this price. This price is not something I'm going to have any involvement in. Excited to watch this fight. Should be very high level. Co-main event, Turner minus 225 versus Bobby Green plus 187. Value alert here in my eyes. Value alert, value alert. You know, this fight was supposed to be Dan Hooker. He gets hurt, so in comes Turner, who just lost to Hooker, right? So he gets to replace that. And, you know, Turner's now coming off back-to-back losses. So he's going to be hungry here for a fight. Green is coming off a big KO finish, one of his biggest wins of his career against Grant Dawson in 10 seconds. A lot of people were high on Dawson. I thought Dawson would win that fight just due to the wrestling. And we did have a play on Dawson in that fight. He just was never able to grab him, right? Green did exactly what he needed to do. Get a quick knockout before Dawson could grab him. If Dawson grabbed him, I think it would have been over. But he didn't allow him to. And, you know, hats off to Green, right? Green does have some good takedown defense, right? Turner's not a wrestler, not going to take down Green. It's going to be on the feet. And we have seen Turner in that Hooker fight. That was very surprising and shocking how he faded in that fight. Hooker brought the pressure. Green's going to bring the pressure as well. How is Turner going to react? But the more concerning thing here is the short notice on Turner, the scales. I already been watching interviews. He said he's a little heavier than normal. How is he going to look on the scale? He's a big guy. How is he going to cut down to this weight? That's going to be concerning for me as well. And that's why you can never look at this minus 225. If you can get Bobby Green plus 187 or even maybe higher plus 200, shop around for a Bobby Green price. Small unit price isn't crazy. You know, I do like Turner's attributes, of course. The reach, 6-inch reach. You're going to have the height advantage, 4 or 5 inches. I understand all that. And if you give me this fight, you know, both have training camps, I'm going Turner all day. Right? I'll play Turner, both guys, full camp. But we're not getting that situation here. We're getting Turner on a week's notice. We're getting Turner heavier. Watch the scales before you bet this one. But there is value here on Green, on Bobby Green. Very confident right now, Bobby Green. Right, coming off a big win there. But I get why Turner is favored in this fight due to the attributes like I mentioned. You know, Bobby Green hasn't fared well with longer guys in the past. That's something also to keep in mind. But hey, you know, Bobby Green at plus money. You never want to bet really Bobby Green at minus, right? When you see Bobby Green minus money, that kind of stays away. But when you get Bobby Green at plus money, it's worth a shot, especially Turner's situation here, right? The thing that does worry me, you know, I like when good fighters, mainly, when good fighters are on a 2-fight losing streak. Coming to that third fight, you know, they're coming in, they're obviously, every fight they're coming in to win. But when you're losing back-to-back fights, especially really good fighters, that third fight, they're extra motivated, if you want to say, to win that fight. So, if I had to bet this fight due to the price, I would have to look at Green, just due to the price and Turner's situation, right? Cannot bet him at minus 225 due to his situation. You just can't. Even though he could win this fight, I get it. But if I had to bet, it would be Bobby Green. Another fun one here, guys, and a tough one. This is probably the toughest one to call on the main card here, guys. Font minus 138 versus Figueiredo plus 110. Fun one here. I think it's a fight that probably could be very close. And it is tough to call for a few reasons, like I mentioned at the top. Devison's moving up a weight class. How is he going to look at this weight? He was fighting at flyweight. He was always big at flyweight, one of the bigger guys. Now he's not going to be, right? He struggled at times to make weight. Here he won't struggle, and he'll be the smaller guy for once in a fight. He's usually the bigger guy. How will he look up? How will he look moving up? We don't know, right? Does he lose some power? Possibly. Does he lose some speed? Possibly. A lot of questions here for Devison moving up, and he isn't getting an easy welcome to the division. Rob Font, very high volume, just under 6. Devison low volume at just over 3. So if this fight does go the distance, Font could win on the scorecards. Devison rely on his power a lot of times. He can wrestle as well. Not a volume guy, but can that power carry over to the higher weight class? That's what we'll find out here, right? We'll find that out. We've seen Font take shots at times, very tough, durable, but we've seen rocked in multiple fights. Very tough to finish Font, but we have seen him hurt multiple times. So if Devison does land some of those power shots, will Font be able to take it like he has? He has been taking a lot of punishment over the years now, right? What I am concerned, though, is Font's wrestling, and Corey Sandhagen took advantage of it. He took advantage of it, to say the least. He said, Corey Sandhagen's a good wrestler, but not some world beater wrestler. He's not known for his wrestling. He's known to be well-rounded and very quick on the feet. But he took advantage of Font in that fight, and it would be interesting to see if Devison will do that. Devison can wrestle, but you just don't see it a ton. And will it translate moving up the division, right? Is he going to be able to wrestle, keep him down? I don't know, right? I don't know. Value here at plus 110 for Devison. This will not get my client's money. It's a flip of a coin, and the concerns of how will Devison look moving up, right? How will he look moving up a weight class? We don't know. No one knows. Let's watch and see before starting to put money on it. That's my advice here in this fight, guys. The only thing I can say is most likely this fight will go 3 rounds. That's probably my favorite play. I haven't looked at the price yet, but I'll look at that, and if it's a decent price, maybe I'll just take the fight to go all 3 rounds and not bet a side here. Brady, minus 120 versus Gastelum, plus 100. A good fight here. Another good fight here, guys. Another fight where a guy is moving weight classes. Right, a guy is moving weight classes here, and that's Gastelum moving down. Looks a lot leaner, looks good. Moving to 170 here. Problem is Gastelum, the injury issues always with him. Usually when he's fighting at 185, he's the smaller guy. So moving down, I think, is maybe a good thing for him. You'll have to see the scales, check the scales, see how he looks here. Another fight like the Turner one, you want to watch the scales. I always tell my clients and viewers, wait to bet fights until the weigh-ins. Now, there are some, times where I will bet before, just because I'm very worried about price movement, and like maybe it's a title fight, maybe it's guys that never have weight issues. I get it. So there are times where I will bet before the weigh-ins, but it's rare. 90% of the time my client card comes out after weigh-ins, right? You may hear weigh-in issues with guys. Some guys may come over. There's a lot of reasons why, right? And this is a clear fight where you want to see Gastelum on the scales. You want to see Figueiredo on the scales. You want to see Turner on the scales. This is a fight card where you definitely want to wait, right? Sometimes, like I mentioned, you don't have to. This is a fight card where I definitely suggest to wait. Gastelum looked good against Curtis his last time out at 185. Prior to that, his losses were against the best of the best guys. Keep that in mind, right? Jared Cannonier, Whitaker, and wins in his last few years are lower level guys, which is a little concerning. Curtis and Heinisch, right? Those are his only wins. So when he's fighting top level guys, he loses. And when he fights, the mid-tier guys, he usually finds ways to win. Brady's not going to say he's a top level guy. And it's a different division, right? Brady showed last time out that he broke, right, against Bilal Muhammad. And Brady, if you can't get the fight down to the ground, Brady's in big trouble. The good news is Gastelum does allow takedowns. He does allow takedown, right? 62% takedown defense over his career. Brady will need to spend takedowns here. Gastelum's going to be the better striker, right? Brady hasn't shown. I know he continues to improve in striking. I hear him say, I want to show my well-roundedness. He didn't show it against Bilal Muhammad. Bilal Muhammad was able to pressure him and just drowned him, right? He wasn't able to go to deep waters with Bilal Muhammad, and that was just a 3-round fight, guys. Bilal Muhammad finished Brady in that fight. Now, I know Brady traveled for that. It was in Abu Dhabi. Brady will be more comfortable here at home. He seems to be healthy right now. I'm going to look at Brady if I had to bet this fight. It's his weight class. I do think he has a wrestling advantage here, and I think he can get Gastelum down due to Gastelum being vulnerable to takedowns. The 62%, like I mentioned. Brady is very good on top. Very good jiu-jitsu. Some of the best in the UFC. His striking is concerning. So let's say you bet Brady and he's struggling to get Gastelum down to the ground. You're gonna be sweating, guys, because Brady on the feet against Gastelum, you don't want that. You want Brady to be able to control Gastelum on the ground. I think he does that. Possibly, maybe find a submission. If not, maybe just win the fight in 3 rounds. But I'm gonna look at Brady. The price is good. This is gonna be the last time. This will be the fight that tells me how good Brady really is, right? Bilal drowned him. Maybe he wasn't ready for that, the travel and all that. No concerns here. No issues here for Brady into this fight. No excuses. So I expect Brady to get his hand raised. Won't be an easy fight, in my opinion, but we'll learn a lot. We'll learn a lot in that first round and see if Brady, is he legit? Is he for real? He's going to have to wrestle in this one. Carpenter's back. Clay Guida, guys. Plus 250 versus Silva. Minus 334. Not a great matchup for Guida. A fun one, though. I always love Guida fighting. 41 now, almost 42. Right? Continues to go, but what does he really have left here, guys? Right? Last time we saw Silva, he fought Arman Tsuka. The level of fight is just huge here, right? And I think UFC are saying, thank you for saving that card. Thank you for going against a killer. We'll give you Clay Guida. And that win on your resume looks good. A Clay Guida win, even though it's at the end of the career, looks good. Guida, we know, just wants to wrestle. Sure, he can get Silva down, I think, in this fight, but is he going to be able to keep him there? Is he going to be able to avoid Silva's speed and power on the feet? Guida's just not a good striker. We know that. And I expect Silva to be able to hurt Guida on the feet. And I think he does that. Can Guida get this fight down to the ground? Sure. Can he sustain it for 3 rounds? No. I expect Silva to be more active. I expect Silva to, like I mentioned, hurt Guida at some point in this fight and just be the better striker that hits harder. Right? Guida, we know, doesn't hit hard, doesn't have a threat to finish you on the feet. I don't know the last time Guida's finished some guy on the feet. His path is to just overwhelm you with wrestling and chain wrestling, chain grappling. I don't think he can do that here against Silva, the younger fighter. Guida, like I mentioned, 41 now, guys. Don't think he can continue to do this. Very winnable fight for Silva. Again, the price is terrible. Could be a 2-fight parlay piece for me this weekend. But this price at minus 334, you just can't bet it straight. You have to try to get some value. Put it with another fight if you really like it to get you, closer to that plus money range. Silva may make my client card this weekend. Just the price sucks, right? Sometimes that's the thing with UFC. Sometimes you have to bet the price. And, outcome, I probably would lean a finish. Not excited about it, but I would lean a finish for Silva. Due to that power that he could show. Soriano, minus 275 versus Stolfus, plus 225. This is an interesting one to open up the card. One that really no one wants to see. Very lower level. Mid-tier would be, a nice thing to say about these two guys. Soriano just isn't a guy you can trust at minus 275. Yeah, you should win this fight. He should win this fight, but at minus 275, am I willing to find out? No. 3 losses in his last 5 fights. Stolfus, yes, 4 of his last 5 fights have been losses. Both guys are just low-level guys in their division. Soriano will have a striking advantage, yes, power advantage, and volume. Just over 4 per minute compared to Stolfus' very low volume at under 3, right? Stolfus probably tried to wrestle maybe in my eyes, but I think Soriano continues to get a little better. He's training with really good guys. Does that carry over here, though, right? Does it carry over? It's a very winnable fight for him. I just cannot find out a minus 275, and I don't want to be holding that ticket and say, Stolfus won this fight, and I bet Soriano minus 275. Not happening. Play is going to be Soriano for podcast purposes. Won't get my clients money. That will do it, guys. That will do it. Another UFC. We got some good fights coming up. Good cards coming up. This is a good one I'm excited for. Austin, another card. I think Austin, they just went to Austin, is this the second time within a year? Definitely they've been Austin. I think it's been the second time this year, maybe one a year now in Austin. It's live over there these days. Obviously Joe Rogan over there as well. That will do it, guys. The NFL video out tomorrow, so look out for that. Like I always say, bet smart and know your limits. Take care.